Then let's now move on to the next topic for arithmetic operators. All right, so arithmetic operators. Right, so one important thing about working with operators, a comparison operator, logical operator, all of this is to understand precedence. So if you go to precedence, here is a list of all the highest precedence to lowest precedence. All right, so this works around the BODMAS principle, but there's a little extra stuff on it because we are working with a programming language. It gives you the highest to lowest. Also, it tells you the associativity also. Now, for example, if you have left to right, it means when you do something, it will be accessed from the left to the right side. Here is a dot operator. So it will be from left to right. All right. Now, if it becomes, for example, let's say, yeah, so these logical, not bitwise, not all of that stuff is a right to left. Exponentiation is a right to left operation. So that's a good example of how right to left works. Right, the other ones are generally left to right. You would have your association, assignment and conditional operators as right to left also. All of your assignment operators becomes right to left, comma and sequence are also going to be, they're going to be left to right. Yield is something I'm not sure if you're aware of, but if you look at generator functions, you would know something about yield. But yeah, so this is to cover precedence as such. We can just do a simple example here to show what happens with precedence here. We know that the exponential is a right to left. So if you have 3 raised to 2, this is going to execute first, right? And then it is 4 into 9. So it is not 4 into 2 raised to 3. So this gets more precedence here. And in this case, the multiplication gets some more precedence. So it becomes 3 plus 20. So here are generally some of the questions I tend to ask around on logical operators, arithmetic operators, etc. So let's just take a simple, any kind of example. So let's just name it as, right. So sometimes this is generally a question which is asked to just check your fundamentals. So if you don't answer this correctly, sometimes there's a good chance that they might think that your basics are quite weak. So you got to make sure that some of your basics are covered here. They're pretty simple examples. You can easily score a lot of marks in these kind of questions. Or when I say marks, like these shouldn't be part of interviews, but if by chance it does come across, you don't want to be seen as somebody who cannot, who doesn't understand JavaScript or any kind of language. So in this case, so you can see here that the output should be, I think 3. Yeah, 3 is the output here. Right, so essentially what happens is that this is an AND operator. So this is similar to how you write conditional operators in React. If you have written something like condition, like a data and data dot item dot map, right? So or you can even write data dot item and this. So this is essentially checking if data is true. Then we go to data dot item. We check if that is true. If that is true, then we execute this right side function. So similar to that, 5 is a truthy value. So we go to 2. 2 is a truthy value. So we go to 0. 0 is a falsy value. Sorry, yeah, falsy value. 2 and 3, because high precedence is a truthy value, so it becomes 3. So you can think of this becomes 3. This becomes 21 as such. Now this becomes 0. Now 0 is a falsy value. Since it's an OR operator, we select the right side because it's a falsy value, and 3 is a truthy value, so we select 3. So it doesn't go to 21. All right. So that's a example of that. Now this question can also be mixed up with some equal to operators. All right. So this, in this case, it is we reach 2, and then so this gets executed. This is false. So false, and these become 0 here in this case. So it becomes 0 or false or 15 and 21, which becomes 21. So we get 21 as the answer. So if there was no statement of, let's say, this part, you would get a falsy value. All right, we get false as the output because it becomes 0 or 0 or false. Right. So a lot of you guys end up making mistakes in these sites. You shouldn't be making mistakes here because these are very basic questions. Right. Cool. So these are some of the logical operators. So if you're weak in these, you're not able to get the answers correctly, go for learning precedence and how conditional operators work, etc. All that. All right. You need to go into logical operators, all that stuff, comparison operators. These will extensively be used in your if statements and etc. So you have a better idea of what's happening in your code. In case you have longer conditional statements, it becomes a mistake. So these are generally, I mean, it kind of makes sense if it is not numbers as such. If it is a general condition as such, it may kind of make sense for you. I'm sure we get it output, but there are questions which may come around this.